Hello, Serious Survivor here. Today we're going to talk about some of the most dangerous types of people that you can run across in a shit hit the fan or without rule of law scenario. So we're going to talk about some types of people that you may want to avoid and some types of people that you definitely want to avoid at all costs, and you definitely do not want to align with, because these are the type of people that you're not going to be able to trust and will turn on you in a heartbeat. So we're going to talk about some of the different types of people that you're going to want to avoid and do whatever's necessary to make sure these people don't infiltrate your group or don't harm your family. One type of person that you want to be wary of, I should say, in a shit hit the fan scenario are people that are mentally unstable to begin with. People that require medication just to stabilize them so they can function in society. When this medication abruptly halts, when their supply is cut off, these people are going to become more unstable than ever because, first of all, apparently they were unstable to begin with. And now, with a sudden halt of their medication, they're going to go through withdrawals of that medication, which is going to just intensify their mental instability to the point to where these people will be a danger to you and your family. Because depending on the type of situation that you're in SHTF, most supply lines will be cut off if it's a devastating scenario. Not to mention food, water, things like that, they're going to be cut off. But for this type of person, when they lose their medication, when they lose access to their medication, not only will they be going through the severe withdrawals that will make them more unstable than they were to begin with, and even if they make it through the withdrawals, then you still have a mentally unstable person that you're going to have to deal with. And I don't mean any offense to anyone out there that's on any type of medication, but just the true facts are people that are taking medication to make them stable, if this medication is suddenly taken from them, they will go through withdrawals and they will become more unstable than ever. We know that in a shit hit the fan scenario that supply lines will most likely be cut. So these people will lose access to their medication. They will lose access to any support channels, methods that they had, any support groups. So they're just going to be dealing with life on their own. I do feel bad for people that are in this situation because they really have no control over, what they're thinking or maybe even what they're doing. But you have to put yourself first, put your family first in this situation. And these are the types of people that you're going to want to be wary of and definitely probably want to avoid. The second type of people that you're going to want to avoid sort of follows along the same lines, but on the illegal side of it. People that are addicted to illegal drugs. People that are addicted to illegal drugs are already used to using illegal methods to get them. So these people are going to be particularly dangerous because first they're going to be going through the withdrawal symptoms of not having these drugs to begin with, which will make them dangerous. Some drugs, when you withdraw from these type of drugs, it does make you very erratic and you can't really function. You're not very stable at that point. So these people that are addicted to illegal substances are more susceptible to violence and more prone to violence, I should say, stealing and illegal activity when they lose their fix. And even in a shit hit the fan scenario or without rule of law situation, one thing that's going to happen, drugs will still be there. So these people will be doing anything they can to get these drugs. And it may mean sacrificing you and your family by turning their backs on you or even possibly turning on you altogether. So this can be a dangerous group of people to be associated with. So you're going to want to avoid these types of people. People already do crazy things in their day-to-day life. People already do things that we wouldn't normally imagine just to get their fix or to get their drugs or to get that high. So you can only imagine what they'll do in a shit hit the fan scenario when all the laws are out the window. The next type of people you want to avoid are criminal gangs, criminals in general. They already pose a significant threat. They pose a very, very dangerous threat to people in a civilized society. When the rule of law goes out the window and these gangs, these people decide they're going to try and take over, that's going to make them even more dangerous than they've ever been before. And if in a rule of law or a moral society in which we supposedly live in, these people are already dangerous, then imagine how dangerous they'll be in a without rule of law situation when there's no one, no consequences, no one to stop them. These are the kind of people that you definitely want to avoid at all costs. And I don't just mean disassociate with, but I mean absolutely avoid at all costs. And in a shit hit the fan situation, these criminal gangs or criminals in general, they're going to band together. They're going to look for one another because they have the same low moral values as it is. And they're going to form even larger gangs. And this is going to be a very dangerous situation for what's left of our populated society. So you're going to want to not only avoid these people, but it's possible you're going to have to make a stand against them at some point in time. They'll be after your supplies, they'll be after your weapons, they'll be after your knowledge, they'll be after everything you have. And even scarier, they'll be after your wife, your sister, your mother, and possibly your children. So you're going to want to avoid these people, and you're going to want to operate with extreme caution when in any close proximity or in the vicinity of these type of people. The next type of people that you may want to avoid is a touchy subject, the unprepared. These aren't necessarily bad people. Most of them aren't bad people. And some of them even have a good moral values and lived a decent life before shit hits the fan. But after they get hungry, after they get thirsty, after they get desperate people will commit desperate acts. And you don't want to be the recipient or the victim of one of those desperate acts. So you're going to have to be wary of people who were unprepared, who come knocking on your door, and people who try and hit you up for food and water and things like that. Now, I'm not saying turn everyone away. That's up to you. But you want to be aware that desperate people commit desperate acts. And all you have to do is look around at society, look at the world, and know where we're headed. So the people that aren't prepared are doing this to themselves. And as a family man, which I am, and I'm assuming that a lot of preppers are, and a lot of people who do like to prepare aren't just prepping for themselves, they're prepping for their family and their loved ones. You're going to want to put them first. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth the risk dealing with someone who didn't heed the warnings, someone who didn't prepare, and now they're hungry? Are you going to put your family at risk for that? Another group, in possibly the greatest in number and the greatest in strength, will be the government. In a shit hit the fan scenario, without rule of law, some type of apocalyptic event, what remnants of the government that remain are going to try to remain in control. And they're going to use whatever means necessary, and they're going to try and enforce taxation. There's just basically extortion. And they're going to use force to make sure that the government is taken care of. Now, I'm not talking about your everyday police officer and your everyday soldier. That's not what I'm talking about. These people are probably going to be on your side. I mean, you think about the police officers I know in a small town like I've come from. I went to school with these guys. I've known them all my life, and they're not suddenly going to try and take over the town. But I'm talking about the government officials, the higher ranking ones, the ones that are going to wait out the initial events in their bunkers and then come out and try and wipe up the mess afterwards. These are the ones you're going to have to worry about the most, in my opinion. Because when the government comes giving us food, giving us water, telling us they're going to make things better, that's when they take control and they make us their slaves. So you're going to be very wary, or you should be very wary, of the government after a shit hit the fan scenario, because if I'm not mistaken, isn't it the government's place to stop this from happening? So when they come along after they've been in their bunker for 6 months, I'm not sure that they're worth trusting at this point. So be very wary when the politicians resurface, when the government resurfaces and says things are going to be okay, just do what we say. And it'll start with their taxation, which is basically extortion. We'll take part of your crops, we'll take part of what you're growing, we'll take part of your supplies, and we're going to protect you. In other words, give them your supplies or they're going to kill you. So be very wary of the government, and keep your distance from them in a SHTF or without rule of law situation. So those are some of the most dangerous types of people that I think are dangerous types of groups that I think you should avoid and be extremely cautious around. There's obviously more people. I mean, you can't just categorize everything. So these are the ones that I feel like are the most dangerous. If I have to generalize anything, we know that the drug addicts, they're going to do whatever it takes to get their fix. We know that people who are on mind-altering medication to stabilize them, when they lose that medication, they are going to be unstable, to say the very least. We know that the government, if the government does its job, then shit hitting the fan will never happen. So when they come along afterwards, be aware that they abandoned us when we needed them the most. Gangs, criminals, these are people that you're going to definitely have to watch out for. So when shit hits the fan, these are very well going to be the first ones you're going to encounter, and possibly the last if you're not prepared. So there's obviously many more that could be added to this list. Check out the rest of our videos. I hope that you'll like this video and subscribe. And for now, Serious Survivor, out.